Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this MUCAR 632 bidirectional OBD2 scanner. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So let's get this open. Here we have a manual. Let's take a quick look at it. So it looks like it has about 6 pages for English. This shows the different parts. This shows where to locate the OBD2 connector. Here we have some specs. Screen is 6.2 inches. Resolution is 1024 by 600. This shows the different protocols it supports. This shows some of the different features. And we have a Q&A and warranty. So let's get the scanner out. So here we have the scanner. Now there's a protector on here. I'll pull that off. That looks better. So this is a hard plastic here. And then we have kind of a rubberized plastic on the outside. Go to the back. We have plastic on the back. Has a nice feel to it. If we go to the end, we can pop this off. And we have a USB-C port, micro SD card port, and another, I don't know what that port's for, but we have some buttons. They're tactile and they're kind of rubberized. We have a direction pad, OK, and back. Nice, simple. And it comes with a USB cord for charging. It's a USB-A to USB-C. So I'll plug that into my charger, and we'll plug that in the side here. And now we're charging. So it's currently charging at, looks like, well, it said 0.7, but it looks like it's full. Now it's charging at 1 amp. Here we have the OBD2 cable. Has a little protector on the end. And this is going to screw in here on the end. So you press that in and then tighten these down. So I'll unplug this. Let's try booting this up. So there's a power button on top. I'll hold that down. And it's booting. Okay, it's booted. I'll hit start. Has a little note. I'll hit next. So I'll drag down from the top and I'll select a Wi-Fi network. Okay, so I'm connected to Wi-Fi. So before I get to using this, I'll go to upgrade. I'll hit enter and it will bring up all of the different makes and models, and I'll just say upgrade. So that should upgrade all. So that will probably take a few minutes. See if I can back out of here while it's upgrading. Looks like maybe I can. So this shows some of the new features. So I'll go check back in. Oh, and this is another software update. So I'll let it finish the car update and then I'll come back and run this. So if we click on this other button, we're going to have maintenance software. So I'll go through all those, make sure everything's up to date. If we hit this button in the upper left, it's going to show a little menu on the side with the different features. We can also go back to this home page by hitting back. And then we have some different features. We have diagnose, and that has auto search, so that will look up your VIN and pull the car up. We have diagnose, OBD, history, report, and feedback. So let's go back. We have maintenance. So here we have ABS bleeding. It says add blue reset, airbag reset, battery matching, brake pad reset, DPF regeneration, EGR adaptation. So we have a lot of different features here. So these are a lot of the special maintenance modes. For instance, if you're working on the rear brakes and you want to disable the rear parking brake, you can do that through here. Looks like we have TPMS over here. Steering angle reset. So lots of different features here. So you have the bidirectional control where you can actually actuate sensors. That will be under the diagnose when you look your car up. And then we have the special maintenance modes. Then we have upgrade, and here we have more. So here we have settings, online service, user manual, fault code library, coverage list, gadget, remote assistance. Let's see what gadget is. There's a Chrome browser. So this has some built-in resources to help you research, so you don't have to go to a computer. You can do it right on the device. So I'm going to let this finish upgrading, then we'll take it out to the car and we'll test it out. Okay, so I'm out here at my car. I have this up to date, and I want to plug this in to the OBD2 port. So I'm in my 2016 Subaru Outback, and you can see the port right here. So I want to plug in, and that's a trapezoid shape, so you want to make sure you match that up when you plug it in. I don't have a lot of access here, so I'm not going to film that. Okay, so now I have it connected to the car. If you look towards the top, you can see it says 12.55 volts. So this is reading voltage off the battery. Now this may not be the most accurate voltage because it's reading it from the OBD2 port, but it can give you a general idea that my battery is charged up right now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the car on. I'm not going to start it right now. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my fan off. I don't need it on right now, and you can turn your radio off also. So we're under diagnose. There's a couple options here. We have auto search, we have diagnose, we have OBD. But first we'll try auto search. This will look for our car's VIN. So I'll hit enter here. It's going to do a VIN scan. Now you could alternately go through the other two options and pick the car out, but this is the fastest way, especially on modern cars. Okay, so it found the VIN. I'm going to hit automatic search. It has my vehicle information. It looks correct. I'll hit yes. Here I'll hit Outback and I'll do a health report. So this is going to do a scan of the system and it will bring up any stored error codes. Okay, so it says system found 4 DTCs. So we have some anti-lock braking and the airbag system. Now if we look at status here, it says the passed on these. So if I had a code in here for something like a map sensor, I could fix the map sensor, which would probably be replacing it, and then run it again, and then see if it's cleared or not. I could also clear it and see if it comes back up. Now if you don't know what one of these is, you can go over here to the UAI. I'll tap that, and this will do a search. It has a definition, symptoms, and guidance. So here it says circuit system inspection, and this is going to give us some instructions here on diagnosing this issue. So that's all built right into the scan tool. It also has Google search, so if you're going to search for it on Google on your own, you can do that right from this screen. Now down here below, you can clear the DTCs or you can create a report. So if you want to save this for later, you can do that. You can email it since this is connected to the internet. So I'll go ahead and hit back. Now let's go to system selection. Here we can choose individual PIDs to look at. Those are parameter IDs. So we can go to the ECM. And here we can read codes. We can clear codes. We can read data streams. So here we can pick the systems we want to look at. So let me find some here. Okay, so I've chosen a couple parameters. I'll hit OK. So we have the ambient temperature, we have the brake switch, engine speed, and oil temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. And here we can see the different parameters. So the engine speed, we can look at the idle. If I hit the gas, we can see this go up and down. We can also see the oil temperature here. It's rising. Now I can go to graph, and we can show these graphed together. We can also combine them. So if there's a relationship between the parameters, we can see those together. So the one that's going up and down here is the idle. So there's a little screen on the side here, and we can turn things on and off here. So let me exit out of here. Now I went back to this screen, and we were just looking at read data stream, but we can do actuation test. And with this, we can actually actuate different things. So this is the bidirectional control. So if we want to turn something on or off, like AC compressor, fuel pump, radiator fan relay, like I can tap the radiator fan relay, I'll hit OK. I'll do without monitoring data, and I'll say start. And that will turn the radiator fan on. And then it just turned it off. By using the bidirectional control, we can isolate systems and test them. So if your radiator fan is not coming on, we can test it on its own, and we don't have to rely on temperature sensors and such to turn it on and off. And since it went on and off on its own, we know that's not the problem. It might be something else that's causing an issue with your overheating. So let me go back. So we'll go back to the main screen, and let's go to maintenance. So here we have different functions like ABS bleeding. And one that I've used on these types of scanners before is the brake pad reset. So I can hit enter here. Leave a note, I'll hit OK. I'm going to choose my car. So I have a Subaru. It says turn the ignition switch on. So mine is on. And it has two options here. It says brake maintenance mode before install and then after install. So if you're changing out the rear brakes on this car, you can run the before, and that will retract the parking brake. And then after you complete the repair of your brakes, you can run the second mode, and that will reset it. So if you want to do a proper rear brake job on these, this is a vital tool to have. And this makes it very easy to use. It walks you through it right on this screen. And there are lots of different maintenance modes on here. So that's another way to use a bidirectional control on this. So that's the MUCAR 632 OBD2 scanner. I found this scanner very easy to use. It has the auto search, so it brings up your car automatically for many cars. If your car doesn't come up automatically, you can easily enter it in. This can search for codes and clear codes. It has built-in tools to help you research those codes. It also has bidirectional control, which allows you to actuate relays and such, and then do special maintenance modes like the brake reset. If you're working on modern cars, I think an OBD2 scanner like this is vital. as even things like brake jobs require a scanner these days. So if you're looking for an easy-to-use scanner, I think this is a great option. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.